You're here today because you're thinking about buying a pocket knife, and you're thinking about going big and getting a Benchmade, your first maybe expensive pocket knife. Well, today we're going to take an in-depth look at this knife and decide if it's just maybe a status symbol or if it's worth spending your hard-earned money to buy this little mini bug out. Go ahead and get a glass of your favorite bourbon, and we'll get into it right after this. If you're looking at buying a pocket knife for your spouse or maybe your son for Christmas, I think the bug out is certainly a place you want to look. It is a very nice, compact, and should be legal just about anywhere, small pocket knife. I think in most states this is not considered concealed carry because the length on the blade is just right under 3 inches. So I think you'll be good with it. Now, when you take it out of the package, you'll notice it is super, super light. It is quite smooth. It's going to be a lot smoother than, say, a $20 or $50 knife even. It is really smooth, really sharp. Now, I want to go ahead and say this too. This Benchmade is made in the United States of America, and Benchmade does back it up with a lifetime warranty. And they will also sharpen it for the lifetime of this knife as long as you do have a receipt. So if you buy it online or something, that's pretty easy. My mother actually just bought this one for me for my birthday. So I've been carrying it a little over about 10 days or so. So I think now I'm ready to talk about it. Is this knife worth the money? Now this knife, this little bitty pocket knife here goes anywhere between $150 to $200, depending on which day of the week you buy it on. And that's quite a bit of money to spend on this little pocket knife. Now, there are people out there, and myself, I'm one of them, no doubt, that I like to have nice things. You can spend $5 on a pocket knife, or you can spend $200 on a pocket knife, and they're going to do the same thing. So is it just a status symbol? I mean, is it like a watch? You can get a cheap watch, or you can get a nice watch, and they're going to do the same thing. Now, I'll tell you this. I've been wearing this tag now for a few years and very few people have noticed it. So more or less, I wear it because I want to wear it and I feel comfortable wearing a nice piece of jewelry or a timepiece for that matter. I think a knife will be a lot of the same way. You're not going to have people pointing out your Benchmade knife, but you're going to know you're carrying a very nice pocket knife, one that should last you the rest of your life if you don't lose it. Which I also managed to do that already in the week I've had it. It fell out of my pocket on the side of an old dirt road by an old garbage pile, and I was able to go back an hour later and find it. Oh, thank God. I hope my mom's not watching this. Sorry, Mom. In fact, my wife had already ordered another one, so you'd have never known that I lost it. She was going to get me another one for Christmas. But anyway, so let's get this thing down on the table, and let's take a really close look at this knife. Here it is up close. And as you can see, it's a really good looking knife. I love the white and black. The axis lock on it works really well. It makes it a truly ambidextrous knife. You can remove the screws on the clip, which I will say is nice and tight, but apparently not tight enough for the pants I'm wearing right now. But you can remove the screws and flip it to the other side, and it makes it ambidextrous. Now, I do wear it in my left pocket, and I just hadn't flipped it over yet. But I'm so used to a regular knife that once I pull it out, flipping it over, and then opening it up. Now, the black finish, I'll tell you one of my gripes about this knife, and I'm going to tell you a few of them. I'm going to tell you every gripe I have about it right now, so you can decide if it's something that you may want to buy. I'm going to try and get in here. You can see right about there, the black finish on this knife is not exactly perfect. And I would think for a knife in this price range that it should be. Now, maybe I'm just being a little bit nitpicky, but that is indeed the case. Now, this side is fine, you can see. But you can see right there, you can see it. It's just got a little rub on it, and I doubt it's anything in my pocket because the only other thing I carry in my left pocket is my phone. And I don't believe my phone rubbed the finish off of this stainless steel blade. Now, it is very, very sharp. It will shave. It will shave your hair. Now, another gripe I have about this knife is the access lock on it can sometimes bind up. It's actually not the smoothest locking mechanism, or not as smooth as you would think it is. It does occasionally bind up. Now, most of the time it's fine, but it does bind up. So that's another gripe I have about it. And I want you to know I am being very nitpicky, only because of how expensive this knife is. If this was a $50 knife, I would not be pointing any of this out. Now, it does fall closed, but it's not 100% loose. You have to give it a little nudge and it'll fall closed. The sliders or whatever it's sliding on is not super smooth, which I guess it can be a positive, because if you're not ready for it to close and your fingers are in your way, if it's too loose, I guess you could cut yourself. Now, this is a super nitpicky gripe. If you slowly open this knife, right before it locks in, and right before it closes, you can feel the slightest little grind in there. It is not 100% smooth. It almost feels like there's a grain of sand stuck in there, which I know it's not. It's been like that since it's brand new, and I haven't used it very much at all. But it's there, and you can notice it if you're really picking on this knife. And the last one that I've noticed, and this one is kind of a big one for me, because it could possibly be unsafe. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it, but there it goes. With it in a locked position, if you put pressure on this blade, it pops. And the whole inside, the metal part on the inside, shifts within the plastic or the polymer of the handles. And that can be a little scary. If you're actually digging down on something with this knife and it pops like that, it almost feels like the lock wants to let loose. Now, I know that's not the case, but it could feel like that, and it could make people uncomfortable. But like I said, I am being very nitpicky at this point with this knife, because it is definitely beautiful. It is small, it is super light, it is super sharp, and Benchmade will back it up. And I think that is the important thing. Benchmade will back it up. So let's bring it back up top, and we'll wrap this up. You know, besides those few little gripes, it feeling just a little bit less than perfectly smooth right before it opens and closes. The little bit of noise it makes, and you really got to pull on it. Like right here, you're not going to hear that. You really got to torque down on it. But that is of some concern. And maybe if I go in here and tighten these little screws, maybe it would stop doing that. But at the price point of this knife, I shouldn't have to get it and immediately start tightening screws on it. And I'm sure Benchmade will never see this, but I hope they do, and I hope it's something that they work on, because they do make a fine product, no doubt. Now, as far as spending your money on it, well, that's going to be up to you. I like it. Would I buy it again? I can tell you I was devastated earlier today when I thought I'd lost this knife, and my wife immediately bought another one. Now, for two reasons, because I was boudé and I was moping around because I just lost my pocket knife that my mother bought me, and because I didn't want my mom to know. But would I have bought it again? Absolutely, I would have. I certainly think it's worth it. Now, there's a couple other things worth noting too, that this may sound like a little gripe. The thumb screws or thumb catches on this knife are super, super tiny. When you get it, you actually, believe it or not, have to practice opening this knife, because it's actually hard to catch with your thumb if you want to slowly open it. And I have found the best way to do it is quickly. But it takes some muscle memory. It's something you're not gonna be able to just pick it up and do it right away. If you clip your thumb right under that little thumb screw and push it forward with your thumbnail, it'll open right up and it's nice and easy. Like I said, it's not perfect to close. Sometimes you gotta give it a little nod and it'll close, but and maybe that's just because it's still brand new. It's only about 10 days old. Now, when I first got it, it was really hard to do. You almost had to close it with your finger, but it's getting much better. So guys, I like it. I like it a lot. If that's your thing, if you're looking for an expensive pocket knife, something you want to keep on you and keep for a very long time, this is definitely going to be a good way to go. You know, I've carried this buck knife for a really long time, and I can tell you that this little Benchmade is 100% smoother, cleaner, nicer, just more comfortable than this buck knife ever was. And this wasn't a cheap knife. So I know I've griped about a few things, and only because of how expensive it was. But I think it's a really nice, especially gift. If you're gonna get a gift for your husband or your son for Christmas, I really think this is something they can have and be proud of and show off to their friends, because I can assure you, I have showed this off to all my friends. In fact, they're tired of hearing me play with it because I do play with it constantly. And I really do it because when I want to use it, I want to be able to open it smoothly, and it does take some muscle memory. You actually have to get used to opening this knife. But guys, go check it out. I'll have a link to the description down below. And check it out, guys. The Benchmade Mini Bugout. Today it was $179 when my wife ordered it. I think when my mom got it for me, it was right at $150. So the price does fluctuate on it, but go ahead and check it out, guys. Really super nice knife. Lifetime warranty on it. They'll sharpen it for you, keep your receipt for you. And until next time, guys, I'll see you on Everyday Man.